What's going on, kings and queens? Thanks for joining me again on Keeping It Copacetic. It's that time again to take us just a few minutes. Doesn't have to take all day, but we can take us a few minutes out of each day. So kick back and unwind. Sit down on your favorite couch, on your favorite chair, lay down in the bed, a hammock, whatever. Get yourself a bubble bath, whatever it takes to get you to help you relax. Get yourself something to drink on, something to sip on, a glass of wine, a cup of tea, a cocktail, mocktail. I had to go in and get me a little bit of wine to relax. Sometimes you need a little bit of extra. I've been trying to do the green tea and the mushroom coffee and drinking more water. But sometimes it's nothing like just a nice glass of wine to just put you in that mellow, mellow mood. So we're going to do what we have to do in order to keep it copacetic. So Ernest got the money in chapter 8, and he was so busy ordering all of his supplies, getting things all set up for the new shop, that he didn't have time to really even deal with Rochelle. He wasn't really spending time with his mom. He was just busy getting everything set up because that takes a lot. And Eva, he was not having time for Eva either. And Eva got very angry, very upset, stormed into the shop, made a scene, and he had to talk with her about it and let her know, like, I'm trying to handle my business. I need to do what I need to do. I'm a married man. And she realized she had gone too far and she apologized, but yet and still, Ernest still fell for the seduction again. So now he and Rochelle are definitely on the outs right now. She is truly, truly mad at him. So let's go ahead and get into chapter 9. Ernest wanted to stop for a beer on his way home to smooth down his edge before his overdue conversation with Rochelle. But he knew crazy news travels fast, and the story about Eva in the shop was probably already on the wires. He went straight home, but he still wasn't fast enough. Andrea had put in a direct call. Rochelle was pacing around the house with a temper so hot she couldn't sit down. Been waiting there with her when Ernest came home. She was tired of him playing with her emotions. She needed to remind him that if he didn't love her, she had family who did, and they wouldn't hesitate to give his ass a beat down. When she saw his car pull up in the driveway, she rushed out to meet him. Oh, you got all kind of secrets, she said, pushing him in the chest as soon as he got out of the car. Who's the bold bitch who came in the shop and called you out? Ernest walked past her to the front door. I'm not about to put my business in the street. We'll talk about it in the house. Rochelle stomped in behind him. From what I hear, your business is already in the street. Where are the kids? He asked. He knew it was about to get wild and he didn't want them to hear all the arguing. They're in the den watching TV, Rochelle snapped. Rhonda, he called out loudly and waited in the entryway. Hey, Daddy, she said, unperturbed when he came into the living room. She had heard, seen, and been in between their arguments all her life, and now they didn't even faze her. He reached in his pocket and pulled out three $20 bills. Take your sister and brother to the mall for a couple of hours. Okay, she said with a big smile on her face. Rochelle stood in the middle of the floor with her arms folded. She was still there fuming when Rhonda came back through with Rihanna and EJ on her hip. Make sure your brother's fastened in his car seat, Ernest said as they were leaving. He went into the kitchen, got a cold beer out of the refrigerator, and came back into the living room where Rochelle was still standing. Why don't you sit down? We have a lot to talk about. I don't feel like sitting down, she said angrily. I know you want to hear about the female who came in the shop today. But that's not the only thing we need to talk about. I've mentioned to you several times that I wanted to open up another shop in a different area of town. I applied for a loan and I got financing to move forward on that. The real estate agent who helped me find my location was the woman who came by today. The new place is really coming together. Most of the equipment and supplies have already come in. The only thing I have to concentrate on is getting the right personnel and we'll be on point. Are you cheating with this hoe? Are you in love with her? Rochelle asked in a huff. Everything about the new shop had gone in one ear and out the other. Baby, you tripping. I'm not in love with anybody else. I don't need anybody else. Then why was she down there pushing up on you? She wanted to take things further than business, but I'm not interested. Is that right? She said, full of sarcasm. You come in all hours of the night, eat, and then you fall asleep. Why are you so tired all of a sudden? I told you, I've been busting my ass trying to keep money coming in while I try to set up the other place. Plus, I have to keep a closer eye on my mama. I'm doing all I can do. Not quite. You have been spending any quality time with your wife. You're the mother of my children, and I love you for that. But most of the time, I can't even get close to you. You got a wall up so high, there's nothing I can do to climb over it. That's the only way I can protect myself from getting hurt by you. The way things have been around here, it doesn't seem like your family is important to you at all. You know better than that, Shell. My mama didn't have anybody. I didn't have anybody but my mama. My family means the world to me, and I can't erase the things that happened in the past, but you won't let me live it down. I've done everything I know to do, given you everything you wanted, and you still not happy. In the middle of the conversation, Ernest felt his phone vibrate in his pants pocket. He kept talking, and 5 minutes later, it vibrated again. He reached down and turned it off without taking it out of his pocket. Rochelle cooled down a little as the sincerity of his words reigned over her. One thing that would make me happy is if you would get your head out of the clouds and concentrate on your family for a change, she said without yelling. Everything I do is because I want to make things better for you and the kids. No, no, don't fool yourself, Ernest. You doing what you want for yourself, for your ego, and because you're trying to keep up with Vince. That's not true, Shell. You lying to me and you lying to yourself. It's time for you to make your choice. Do you want me and the kids or your big dreams? Ernest frowned in confusion. That doesn't make any sense. Well, it does to me. I don't want you in our bedroom until you figure it out, she said, storming out of the room. Ernest sat there on the couch, dumbfounded for almost a half an hour. He couldn't believe that Rochelle didn't care 1 ounce about the new shop. She didn't ask any questions about it or ask to go and see it. He picked his phone up out of his pocket. There were 3 missed calls from Eva. He stepped out on the porch and called her back. Eva was feeling things that she'd never felt before: emotional, vulnerable, and desperate. It had to be some kind of premenopausal symptom triggering changes in her hormones that had caused her to become sentimental and have fits of jealousy all within 1 minute. She was bewildered by all the unfamiliar feelings and she wanted to turn off the reactions like a light switch, but it wasn't within her power. She wasn't herself. The only thing she previously had strong feelings about and wanted to possess completely was money. Profits and making record sales had fallen off the top of her to-do list. Ernest had taken the highest spot. Being with him or thoughts of being with him had consumed her morning, noon, and night. Eva was fulfilling her mandatory duty as hostess for Mitchell's annual dinner birthday party for her with her latest boyfriend and a few of her sorority sisters and friends. Eva was struggling with the festivities because she was mentally and sexually frustrated. She had taken a Xanax early, but it hadn't kicked in yet. She needed her drug of choice, Ernest, in bed. It had been 48 hours since her last dose, and she was getting edgy. She had already excused herself 3 times to go to the restroom to call Ernest, and the main course hadn't even been served. Natalie noticed her distraction and was glaring at her every time she came back to the table. You might need a doctor to get that checked out, Eva, Natalie sneered. I know the bladder weakens as women get older, but I'm sure they have some pills that can alleviate that. Thanks for your concern, Eva said scornfully, but you don't need to worry about me. It's not good for you. And since you're celebrating another birthday, have you considered a consult with a colleague about some work? Your frown lines are getting deeper. No, I haven't. But whenever you're ready to go under the knife for those overgrown crow's feet around your eyes, I'm ready for you, stepmother, Natalie snapped back. I'll even give you a family discount. Eva narrowed her eyes in contempt. Thank you, my dear stepchild. I'll keep that in mind. Now, now, my favorite lady, stop the needling or you'll ruin the mood of our celebration, Mitchell said with a strained smile. The dessert was about to be served when Eva felt her cell phone, which she tucked into her Spanx, vibrate against her inner thigh. She smiled and quickly excused herself again. Hello, she said frantically inside the half bath, praying he hadn't hung up. Hey, you want to meet me at the house tonight? Ernest said seductively. I'll be there in an hour, she said in a hushed voice. Eva could barely contain her pleasure with the call. A wave of heat rolled over her. She looked at her reflection in the mirror and her face was flushed. She reached for a tissue and dabbed her cheeks. Are you feeling all right, sweetheart? Mitchell asked when she returned to the table. Actually, I'm not, she said, needing a reason to exit the dinner party. I might be coming down with some type of virus. You have to be careful where you go and the company you keep, Natalie chimed in. You could catch all kind of germs. That's a hazard of working with the public, Eva said, ignoring her snide remark. Some ginger tea would help, Mitchell said. Have Loretta make you a cup. Her name was Loretta Lopez. She was the cook slash housekeeper and had worked there for 14 years, ever since she came from the Dominican Republic by way of New Jersey with her daughter. When the head of the human resources at Pinnacle found out that she didn't have a green card, they fired her. Mitchell, feeling bad for her, hired her to come and work for him. I think you're right, Eva said, getting up from the table. I don't want to spoil the rest of the evening. You all enjoy yourselves. I think I'll go to bed early. I'll come up with you, Mitchell said, reaching for his walker. No, no, honey, she said, patting his shoulder and kissing him on the cheek. This is Natalie's day. You all have a good time. I'll be fine. Eva left the dining room and went straight out the front door where her car was parked along with the other guests. She drove away without looking back. The pile of lies she had been concocting for the past few weeks was surely above her head by now, but she didn't care. She was addicted to this thing that was starting to feel like love. Hmm. Eva wouldn't have received any awards for her acting performance at the table from Mitchell or Natalie, primarily because it lacked originality. Mitchell had played the role much better himself, and Natalie had seen it so many times that she found it boring. Mitchell was always aware whenever Eva stepped out of the bounds of their marriage, not only because he knew all of the signs, but because he had a private investigator keep close tabs on her. Far from naive, he believed that when you took someone's hand in yours, whether it be in friendship, fellowship, marriage, or any other kind of contract, you best know what the other hand is doing. It was key to him rising to the pinnacle of success. Pun intended. Not many years ago, Mitchell was the one given flimsy excuses for making quick exits to meet a lady on the side. Nevertheless, nature has a way of leveling the playing field. He had gotten older and his body more obstinate every day, refusing to obey his commands. On an irreversible course, he was slowly losing his independence and freedom. As a man who once ran wild and free, it was a bitter drink to swallow. Still, it wasn't in his nature to put Eva on a short leash. His concern was that in this instance, she seemed to be getting tangled up. He felt that it was time to stop chasing her rabbit and come back home. After all, she wasn't just some stray dog running around like she was in heat. He had given her his pedigree. Natalie, on the other hand, never liked Eva or her I'm God's gift to the world attitude. She knew her dad was nobody's fool and always insisted on prenuptial agreements, but Natalie felt like he shouldn't even have married Eva. She didn't believe a man his age with his money could ever find someone to truly love him. They would always love the money more. She preferred the wives who were young, dumb, and knew their position. The birthday party wrapped up, and after midnight, with all the guests going home either tipsy or totally drunk. It was a few minutes before 1 o'clock when Eva's car pulled into the front entrance. Natalie went to the bar and poured herself a scotch, her first drink of the night. She wanted to be clear headed when Eva got home from her rendezvous. Oh, you startled me, Eva said nervously when she saw Natalie standing on the other side of the door. I'm surprised to see you're still here. I wanted to wait for you to get back home, Natalie said dryly. You left in such a hurry after saying you were sick. I thought you was probably headed to the emergency room. It must have been more than a stomach virus since they kept you so long. Eva knew Natalie was being sarcastic, but she played along. I thought it would be helpful if I went to Walgreens and picked up some medications. Natalie nodded. You were probably just dehydrated. Did you get something to put some fluids in your system? As a matter of fact, I did, Eva said. You shouldn't have worried. I'm feeling much better. My father was the one who was worried, Eva. He doesn't need to be bothered with your fake fevers while he's facing real health issues. Why don't you take care of your own life? Or better yet, find yourself a husband to care about, Eva said through narrowed eyes. You're not deceiving anybody, Natalie said, staring her down. Why are you still here? Eva asked, irritated. For your information, I belong here. This was my mother's house, and she willed it to me. And I'm the only one who will be here after my father's death. Oh, don't be so sure, Eva snapped, flashing her a devious smile. You're not going to break my father down, you scandalous bitch. If you do anything to hurt him in any way, I will kill you with my bare hands. Eva laughed and walked up the stairs to the guest room. She wasn't about to allow Natalie's miserable ass to cast a shadow on her afterglow. She undressed in the dark and got into bed, running her hands over the spots where Ernest had touched her. In the morning, Eva could hear Mitchell's slippers scuffling against the floor before he turned the corner into the room. She wasn't ready to face him after being with Ernest last night. It had been different from the other times. Last night she could feel his desire. It was like he wanted to lose himself inside her body. Her head was still spinning from the passions that had been stirred up. The parts of her life that she thought were settled, like her marriage and her future, they seemed to be back up in the air again. The only thing she was sure of was that she wanted Ernest. Good morning, love, Mitchell said, ambling into the kitchen, still wearing his pajamas and bathrobe. Good morning, my dear, Eva responded, putting on a fake smile while on the inside she was wishing she had left 10 minutes ago. She wanted to blame Loretta for brewing the pot of fresh coffee and its aroma for drawing her in, but it was her fault. Are you feeling better this morning? He asked, easing down onto one of the bar stools in front of her. You look lovely. As a matter of fact, I am, she answered without any further explanations. I was just leaving to get an early start at the office. Eva poured the remaining half cup of coffee in the sink and proceeded to walk past him. Mitchell grabbed her hand tightly and pulled her next to him. I'm sure as my wife you can spare your husband a few minutes of your time, he said, putting his arm around her waist. You seem to be in such a hurry lately. Come sit by me. All of my senses have missed you, hearing you, seeing you, touching you, smelling you, and tasting you. I don't mean to neglect you, honey, she said, rubbing his shoulders. I've been preoccupied with some problems at work. Oh, what's going on? Maybe it's something I can help you with. One of my new agents has a problem with the broker's fee and share commission on a sale from one of my clients. It's nothing I can't handle. You know, we both have been so stressed with work and doctor's appointments. It would be a good time for us to take a couple of weeks off and get away for a while. That sounds wonderful, honey. I've got a lot of irons in the fire myself. And traveling, it might be difficult for you right now. Mitchell, feeling her reluctance, insisted. Between the two of us, we'll be fine. I'm not a total invalid, at least not yet. No, darling, that's not what I meant, Eva said to appease his growing anger. Try to wrap up your business this week, he said firmly. I'll make the arrangements. In the meantime, don't forget we're attending the Tennessee Performing Arts Gala on Friday. I'll do my best, she said, kissing him on the cheek and rushing out. And that was chapter 9. Oh, Eva is getting caught up. And so is Ernest. Wow. Anyway, that is chapter 9. Join me again on Keeping It Copacetic for chapter 10. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I would love the support. And I would definitely like to hear some of your comments. Nobody really comments on the story or on the book. So I would love to hear what you think about it. You know, it's hard. A writer needs to kind of hear feedback. Feedback. That's what I need. I need feedback. But until the next time, take care and definitely be safe out here in these streets.